If you're a Salvadoran living on the West Coast, like in California, I don't care if you get confused as Mexican. Y'all need to stop fucking crying. No, I'm just kidding. But I did want to talk about this discourse that I'm seeing about specifically like Central Americans, mainly Salvadorans, Hondurans, and Guatemalans that live in California, specifically like LA area, that are upset that people confuse them as like Mexican, or like they're just like, oh, there's just so much Mexican culture here. Because listen, I get it. I get it. However, I don't like that some of you guys, especially Salvadorans that live in California, oh, well, it's just so heavily Mexican here. And like in the US, there's not that much presence of Salvadoran. Have you been to the DMV? Have you been to DC? Have you been to Chirilagua and Arlington? Have you been to Manassas? Loki, I feel like West Coast Central Americans, especially Salvador, I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk shit. You guys live in your own world, because the same way that you guys get confused as Mexican over there, even though you're not Mexican, baby, the Mexicans get confused as Salvadoran over here. Over here in Virginia, DC, like the whole DMV, if you're Latino, 99% of the time you're assumed to be Salvadoran, Peruvian, Ecuadorian, literally anything except Mexican, because we have Mexicans here, but it's just not a lot of them, right? Baby, the Mexicans here get confused as Salvadoran. So don't, I get it. You don't want to be called something that you're not. I understand. But don't sit here and tell me, oh, it's because in the US, there's not really like Salvadoran hubs. There's no Salvadoran hubs. There's no place that is predominantly Salvadoran, where Salvadoran culture doesn't literally like exceed Mexican culture. Baby, you guys have not been to the East Coast, especially the DMV, because I'm telling you, baby, over here, the first thing you get assumed as is Salvadoran. Where I live, there's more pupuserias and pollo a la brasa Peruvian chicken places than there are Mexican restaurants. Not everything is your West Coast experience is your West Coast experience, but don't put that on everyone else, please. Cannot wait until they find out that there's other parts of the East Coast where you're never assumed to be Mexican first. There's parts where you're assumed to be Brazilian, Massachusetts. There's places where you're assumed to be Cuban if you speak Spanish. There's places that you're assumed to be Venezuelan, Puerto Rican, etc., Bolivian. Look up where the most Bolivians live in the US. Yes.